Okay. So in the process of going into this, like you say, okay, a brand new EXP, a couple months in at EXP, okay, I'm getting my feet on the ground. Like, where are like, let's get the big rocks first. A lot of people will say they want to go out and do all this other crazy stuff. And I'm going to say sphere of influence is number one. It's the highest, best return all the time. Okay. When you're talking house sales and you're talking agents. Okay. So here's the thing. You have your real estate sale business, right? Which is trading time for money selling houses. And then you have your recruiting business, which is the people equals money equation, which is what makes EXP freaking amazing, right? So here's the rub. A lot of people will say, well, Russ, so what I want to do is I want to focus on this and I want to get this thing built up as big as I can, as fast as I can. I said, okay, cool. So the problem is right now your business is 100% house sales, right?
Yep.
Plus or minus. Okay. So if you distract from your 100% house sales, and let's say I'm going to divert 20% of my time over here, that means you've got 80% over here because there's no such thing as 110%, 120%. Okay. You got 100, it is what it is. A gallon's a gallon's a gallon. I don't care how many containers you put it in, it's still a freaking gallon. Okay. So with that said, if I divert 10%, 20% of my time away from my 100% business, let's just say I'm closing 100 sales in a year. Do you expect to close more sales or do you expect to close less sales?
Less. Yeah.
Right. So what ends up happening is now I went from 100 to 80. Am I doing myself a disservice potentially? Yeah, because here's the rub. These are $10,000 checks. These are $350 checks.
Yep.
Okay. So how many $350 checks do you want to trade for 10,000?
None.
None.
Yeah, none,
Like,
right.
let's go
Right.
with zero first. And if you make me one, and as few as possible will be the third option. Okay. So if I have to do any, as little as possible, right? So a lot of people are out there and they're saying, well, what you need to do is you need to drop this, put 100% of your time, energy, and effort and your resources into this, and then this will explode. And long term, you'll be fine. The problem is, I don't know about you, but my bills don't stop. What, like, I just say, you know what? I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I'll be fine. Like,
Yeah.
I'll work it out over the next year, right? The faster this goes down, the less likely I am going to play with this. And what ends up happening is you start off here, your business is here, and you do some attraction, and business goes down to here, and then you freak all the way the F out, and you're like, screw this, drop that, go back to doing sales. So let me shortcut you to here. Okay. I'm going to shortcut you that path. I see
Please.
a bunch of people do this dip. I don't want you to see the dip, no dips. Okay. This is real estate business, trading time for money selling houses. This is recruiting business, attraction business, rev share business. And a lot of people look at it like they're separate like this. I want you to start to say, okay, here's the shift in your brain. The shift in your brain is, all right, I'm going to focus 100% of my time on house sales. Okay. And then I'm going to put this in its proper place so that I don't harm myself and create a scenario where I've got a dip. I want you to spend 100% of your time on this. Okay. And then in the process of doing this, guess what happens? You get a bunch of these, right? This is my, it's not at, this is my little realtors, right? I have realtors all over the freaking place in these transactions. And when we start to go, okay, what is the easiest, fastest, best path? Best path? Like, are you ever going to recruit somebody that doesn't know you?
No.
You ever going to marry a girl that's never met you?
No.
No. Even if it's online, they met you somehow, right? But
Right.
so these are knowns, right? So we got a whole pile of knowns. So now here's what happens. I've got my sphere of influence and or my money driving, business driving stuff for house sales. And then I have this secondary sphere of influence. Same thing. Highest conversion on sphere of influence for this is the people that already know you guys. Dude, you've got a reputation out there. There's a lot of people that know who you are. There's a lot of people that have done business with you. Be like, hell yeah, those guys are great. I love doing business with them and their team. Okay. You're going to have an anomaly here. No matter what you do, that person could be unhappy. Fine. Like,
Yeah.
that's not who I'm focused on. I'm going to focus on the 99 other people that are thrilled with the way we do business. Okay. So now what I want you to start thinking is, okay, sphere of influence. These are people I know around the transactions that I have. Let's get really clear on where they are and how many they are. Because people start going like, well, yeah, well, so how many transactions did you guys and your team close last year?
About 125.
Okay, good.
Probably a small little team these days.
I was like, yeah, that was my range. That was 130, 143,
Yeah.
127. But that was kind of my thing with like me and one full-time and one part-time. Dude, we were running ragged. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
We've done 350 before in different markets and always scale way back. And our
Some
team's small now.
Yeah, sometimes smaller and more effective and smaller, higher dollar. I would rather have smaller, less sales with higher dollar and way less energy and time and frustration. So pairing back to the right, this is right sizing it. Great. So let's
Yeah,
leverage the heck out of this. Okay. So you guys do a lot of listings, don't you?
we do.
Okay. So, okay, good. So you do listings. So let's talk one listing. Okay. I have one listing. How many real estate agents are on my other side of my listing?
A lot.
I've got, right. I've got my co-op agent, the other
Right.
person on the other side of the contract. I've got everybody that showed the house.
Right.
I've got anybody that popped by the open house. You could potentially do reverse prospect. I'm not a huge fan of that. If I wanted to see it, I would have found it. So stop shoving stuff at me I don't have any interest in. If I was
Sure.
looking for that, I would have found it. So I like the co-op agent. Yeah, your co-op agent. I've got 20 people that showed the house, right? And then here's the leverage points. Okay. Do you have a mortgage person?
Yeah,
You have a title person?
we do.
Oh, whatever. Do you have an insurance person?
We do.
Inspection person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does your mortgage person know 200 agents?
100%. Yeah.
Title should, insurance should, inspection should, right? So what happens in the course of having one deal, you're going to have different mortgage people on deals all the time, right?
Yeah.
I've got 120, 800. So I've got 821 now potential people I can touch. Now these are our super connectors. And why I call them your super connectors, the mortgage person knows 200 people. So how do you get a mortgage person? How do you leverage a mortgage person with this, right? Do your mortgage people know the agents that are struggling?
They do.
Right, they do. Right? Does your mortgage person want to get agents to come to them instead of chasing them all the time because they're sick of chasing agents too? Yeah. Okay. So if I can become the resource for this person, say, hey, Jeff, here's what I do. Every month, I do a market update, tells people what's going on in the market. I'm going to send this to you. You can do one of two things with it. You can either take that market update and you just send it to everybody you know, right?
Mhm.
Take my word, send it out. I'm going to do it non-branded. It's like, hey, it's Jeff Quintin, local real estate dude, right? I did Russ the real estate dude for a bunch of years. Like people are like, I don't even know what brand you're with. Good, perfect, right?
Yeah.
I want them to be like, I'm just a local real estate expert, making sure you guys know what's going on in the market. Does your mortgage person need to know what's going on in the market? Yeah. Shouldn't they be if they were the one that was telling their 200 people what was going on in the market, they now become the expert for the real estate agents. And the mortgage guy's like, well, I don't know the real estate side. Like, I'm going to tell you the real estate side. I'm going to give it to you. And all you got to do is forward it, which most of them do, by the way, because they're too lazy to do it themselves. Or what you can do is you can take that, literally write down the script. It's two minutes, write down the script, put it in your pie hole, and you send it out and just give me credit for it once in a while. It's like, hey, I get
Right.
this information from Jeff Quintin every month. And here's what's going on in your local real estate market. I thought you guys need to know that. Now, the mortgage person becomes a person like every time they send out the market update, the agents look at that because they're not out looking at it themselves. They're not going finding the info. How often does somebody give you a market update? Next
Right.
to never, right?
Yeah.
You now become in your market the market expert, and people start to see you out and about, and they're like, "Hey, dude, I watch your thing on the thing all the time," and you're like, "Boom!" That's when you know you got it. Okay, so I've got my title person, my insurance person, my inspection person. So mortgage person here, I'm going to trade you. I'm going to show you how to get more people coming to you. I'm going to trade you, right? The trade is when you bump into somebody that's frustrated, you just give me a shot. Just say, you know what? If you're frustrated right now, you need to talk to Jeff because Jeff can show you how to go from 2 to 20. He can show you how to go from 5 to 50. He can show you how to get to where you need to go. And he's a good dude. You need to know Jeff.
Yeah. Perfect.
Like, wow, man. Somebody's like, hey, you need to know Jeff. Now, when the phone rings, like, hey, Jason said, I need to know you. Cool. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna struggle, blah, blah, blah. Like, for some of those people, I don't want to pull them on my team. I don't want to drag my team down, but could I put
Sure.
them in my organization? Say, yeah. So here's what we do. Once a week, we get our people together and we talk about how to do more sales, right? So if you're willing to show up 10:30 to 10:30 to noon every Wednesday, that's when we talk to the team. You'd have access to do that. You could be part of the organization. You could be part of our stuff. And if you do this, this, and this, I can kick you over to the team side. What do you think? And now you got people saying, yeah, okay. So you can bring them in on your terms. You don't have to bring a bunch of people. What you don't want to do is bring in a bunch of people that are boat anchors, right?
Right.
Now you
Right.
can drag yourself, your team, and all those boat anchors. You don't want to do that. You want to grab people that help you float higher, right? Okay. So
Yeah.
my title person's in the same boat. Like, how does a title person get to real estate? They go out like panhandlers to every realtor event. They show up at every
Mhm.
builder event. And they feel like they have to do that type of thing. So now instead of having to go out and beg for business, you go out and just say, hey, by the way, I do a market update every month that tells you what's going on in the market. You want me to send it to you? It tells you what's going on the real estate side. You need to know your numbers, right? Because people
Mhm.
always ask you, how's the market? Yes. Now you can say, let me show you what the numbers are instead of just winging it or going with an elevator pitch trying to sell them something. Okay. This is like the core of everything I've trained. And this works brilliantly well because now I got the mortgage person's like, dude, like you're my freaking guy. These title people are like, I love you, man.
Yeah.
I get like Ruth Peoples in Tampa, big title person. You call her up and be like, hey, you remember Russ Laggan? I haven't been there in years. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, hell yeah. I give all of those people all of the info, right? So now I'm building a scenario where it's like, oh, okay, I got all these feelers out and people just run into them. Think of it like a jellyfish. I'm just out there, boom, tentacles everywhere. And next thing you know,
Mhm.
people are, and they swim into this stuff and getting zapped everywhere they go. So
Yeah.
all of these things make it really, really simple for you to explode this. Okay. So if you say I've got one listing and I can get 820 touch, 821 touch, you've got how many listings? You've got 50 of them. You're not going to have 4,000 because there's going to be some overlap.
Sure.
You could easily see where you can get to a scenario where you have 1,000, 15, 1,800. By the way, go back to all of your past sales. Every one of those real estate agents, I'm going to start
Mhm.
adding value every time. Okay. So here's the deal. When I get done doing business with this guy, I'm going to say, hey, it was really great doing business with you. It was really great. I had, hey, Josie on our team said you were fantastic to work with. I just wanted to reach out to tell you I really do appreciate that. And by the way, we're throwing you on our list to give you our market updates so you always know what's going on in the market. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Love doing business with you. See you on the next one. Those
Yep.
agents, like, are you freaking kidding me? I love this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easiest freaking call in the world. Because people are like, well, what you need to do, Jeff, is you need to bang the phones. Like, yeah, you call people up and tell them that you heard they did a great job.
Yep.
Call them up and tell them congratulations on the closing with so and so on my team. Easiest freaking call in the world. They love talking to you. And by the way, every month we're going to put you on our market update list. Cool. So now
Yep.
you grow that list. You're growing your list. Like look at Chet Black. Chet Black will say, do things that grow your list, and then add value, add value, add value. And what happens is you have people coming to you instead of chasing them. You're going to hear a lot of people teach you how to chase stuff. By the way,
Right.
when you chase agents, they run.
Right.
When you put this stuff up, they start to go. And the next thing you know, you can have a follow-up system. You could even have somebody else do the follow-up for you. Hey, just want to touch base with you. Did you get the thing we sent out? Want to make sure that you're connected to it so you're actually getting it. Did you get it? Greatest call in the world, right? And by the way, every once in a while, anything I send to my sphere of influence, like I love to do this every year. Spring has sprung. Here's 10 things you need to look at on your house, and you send that as a mailer to every one of your people in your sphere of influence that have a house. And they're like, oh yeah, that's a good little list, right? By the way, here's a list of the top returns on investment in your house. Send that out once a year.
Mhm.
By the way, the 5 things that give you the best return on investment is like painting your front doors, number one.
Right.
$120 return, it costs you next another, right? So those types of things that I send out to my sphere of influence and my market update, I send that to every freaking realtor I know too. I'm like, hey, just in case you didn't see this is what we sent out to our people. Thought you might want to see it too. By the way, you're welcome to send it out to your people. Some of their people cross over, some of your people cross over, but you're still the source. You're the resource, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Perfect.
now you can see how this could go up to 2 and 3 and 4,000 fast. You got 100 sales in the last year. You got 100 sales in the last year, and a 200 the year before, and 300 the year before. That's what 700, 800 people you've directly touched on a transaction.
Mhm.
Every one of those in your sphere of influence. Hey,
Got
guys,
it.
anybody we've done business with in the last 5 years, every single one of you, we're going to give you a market update every month that tells you what's going on in the market. Super simple stuff. Not complicated. Keep it easy. Here's
Yeah.
2 or 3 basic metrics. Here's what's going on in our market. Your people in your current market are going to be your best result, your best resources. Could you now think, okay, well, if I have another agent in another market, could we have a scenario where we could have our VA throw together some basic market info for them, and like I could automate the heck out of that, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
you have the ability to be scalable. So first things first is stay as hyper local as you can, build this out, and then once you get this built out, and you still have a little bit of time, energy, and spunk to go, now you want to start looking at city next door, across the state line, that kind of stuff. Other
Mhm.
markets you can play with. So start thinking, how can I be the resource? Could you be the resource for market information and data in markets you're not even in?
For sure.
Dude, I pop into Louisville and I'm like, hey, by the way, do you guys know you're at a blah, 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 month supply of homes. And they're like, what? Like I'm telling people in cities that I don't even live in what their market data is. And they're like, this guy, I
Yeah.
love this guy. This guy just told, like, nobody else has been telling me this. Because I'll ask, like, hey, what's the current month supply of homes in this market?
Hmm.
In almost every room, crickets, right?
Right.
So you can start to do that, and people go, dude, I love this guy. I go on stage with a non-EXP thing and talk about market stuff. Like, here's what's going on in the market. Here's how we got here. And by the way, now that you know that, here's a couple things that you need to do to be able to get more home sales in this market. If you just do this and get two more sales in the next year, you just made 20 grand showing up here today. Good.
Hmm.
And by the way, you can make that same 20 grand every year for the rest of your life. You're in business 10 more years, you just made 200,000 more dollars by showing up for this 1 2 hour session. Good. Worth your time. Let's go. Give them some information. Okay.
Got
I
it.
can just go up there and talk market data, and they're like, oh my God, this guy's brilliant. Dude, I'm reading stuff off a freaking page,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay. So that's the kind of things that we can start doing to market and say, start thinking and shifting, going like, how do I add value? Okay. So what are 5 steps a brand new agent needs to do to take their business to the next level? You can put out some stuff like that on occasion. If you want
Hmm.
to go five to so this marketing, so then we go into messaging, okay? The messaging is really, really simple. People make it really complicated, and I wouldn't consider myself a marketing genius, but I will tell you this. I know real estate agents respond when you start communicating with them, not about me. I can tell you how great I am all day. You're going to think I'm an ass. But if I tell you how to solve something that you're going through, something you're fighting with, or something you've seen or you're dealing and challenged with, like now I've got your attention, right? So,
Hmm.
Jeff, here's the deal. Nobody cares about EXP. They just don't. It's not that EXP is not ideal. It's nothing about EXP. It's the fact that they don't care about EXP. What they do care about is how do I get the next home sold?
Right.
Your average real estate agent needs to sell another freaking house. By the way, 5 more would be great. 10 more would be life changing, game changing. Okay. So here's a couple messages that resonate really well with agents. Been on stage after stage after stage, and I say this stuff, and the agent's like, you are so freaking right. It's a little bit brutal and it's a little bit harsh because it goes against a lot of what the industry teaches. But when I talk to agents and I ask this question, how many of you guys got into this business and you knew when you got into this business that your first job is going to become a telemarketer? How many of you guys knew that?
Right.
Nobody puts their hand up.
Yep.
Now, knowing that, how many of you guys really, really, I cannot wait to wake up in the morning and be a telemarketer?
Right.
How many of you would
Nobody.
like any plan that is not you being a telemarketer and then being shamed for not calling people? How many of you guys would like to have a conversation that doesn't require that? Let's get people to come to you and not chase people that don't want to be chased. I want to add value so that people come to me. I want to add value and then I can do a follow call. I'm not saying don't call people, but I'm saying add value first, then call them and say, hey, did you get the thing I sent? By the way, it's funny. John Cheplack has been saying this a bunch. I've never really been in his circles. I never really kind of got him. I didn't know him enough to get him. I judged him by what I saw and some of the chunks of things that I saw, and I just kind of discounted it. Not that it wasn't good, it's just kind of like just wasn't my flavor, wasn't my style, wasn't my vibe. And man, I could not have been more wrong. Right. So that exterior and the way he carries himself and so forth, and the things that he's saying, when you start paying attention, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy and I get along on a lot. Like I agree with this guy on a bunch of stuff, right?
Sure.
He's
Sure.
like, add value, add value, add value, add value. I'm like, I never picked that up. And the things that I had caught, I'd never picked that stuff up. Now I'm like going, oh my gosh, this guy's freaking got it, right? So add value, add value, add value. And then all you do is you pick up the phone. Ross, you pick up the phone and you call him. Hey, did you get the thing on the thing? I'm going, oh my God, dude, I've been saying that for 15 years. I didn't know like he and I are saying the same stuff. For
Sure.
whatever reason, there's a number of us that kind of get in that you get in that kind of vein, in that kind of river, and there's other people get in the other river. It's like, it's cold call, numbers game. Dude, how many of you guys want a cold call numbers game? Freaking
Yeah.
nobody, right? How many of you guys like getting cold called? For every once in a while, some dude in the back will put his hand up, and I'm like, holy crap, somebody just put their hand up in the back. Are you serious? You like to be cold called? And he's
Yeah.
like, yes, I do. I'm like, awesome, cool. Dude, could you do me a huge favor? Say it loud. What's your phone number? And he's like, never mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So being a smartass, yes, right? But the reality is like, so we're teaching people to do things that we don't Like, I don't want it done to me, right? So like you can go biblical principle, do whatever you want with it. Do unto others as you'd have done to you, right? Like that's just human, right? I don't want people doing that to me. I don't do it to people. I won't do it to me. So now how do I build a business that actually keeps within my integrity? Can I add value and then follow up call? Yeah. If somebody sent me something cool and then called me like, hey, dude, I just want to make sure you got the thing. Like Will Grimes just did something for me. Like a beautiful human. He actually just built some branding stuff for me for doing some of this outside stuff in the book that I'm working on. I'll be done with the book in about a month. And he's helping me with some of the branding stuff and the logo stuff because his wife is brilliant at this stuff. And he's like, dude, we'll do it for you. I'm like, you no, no, dude, I will pay you to do it. He's like, no, I owe you, man. You've helped me with so much stuff. You changed my way of thinking on stuff. I owe this to you. And I'm like, I don't feel good taking stuff. But so he
Yeah.
sent it over to me and then he hit me on text. He's like, hey, did you get the thing I sent? And I'm like, hell yeah, I did, dude. Thank you very much for that. I really freaking appreciate it. That is
Yeah,
exactly what I was looking for. Dude, that's a great interaction.
for
Okay.
sure.
You
Yeah.
start thinking, how do I facilitate those interactions? Ignore all the other people telling you to do the things that don't go that go against the core of who you are. Ignore all of the things that don't follow in line with like, if I don't want it done to me, I'm not doing it to other people. Number one, you're going to sleep better. Number two, you're going to love what you're doing. Number three, you're going to find the people that respond to you are going to respond to you in a way more cohesive manner. They're going to respond to you in a way more collaborative manner. So I'm not trying to get something, I'm giving something. And if you respond to that, you're like, thanks, dude, that's really
Right.
awesome. Yeah, got it.
Yep.
That's cool. So you now think of how do I become a resource and consistently put yourself in front of them as a resource. Okay. Start with past sales. Start with anybody that showed any of your properties. This year now, you got 20 people showed the property. Every one of them, here's your short script. Hey, Jeff, I know you showed the property at blah, 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 which means obviously you have a buyer that's looking for something similar-ish to that. That property went under contract, but I want to let you know two things. Number one, if that thing should fall out of contract for some reason or another, we'll make sure we let you guys know first so you can come back and take another whack at it. Secondly, I also know every time I list a house in a neighborhood like this, within the next 3, 4, 5 months, I end up with another house just like this. So what I'll do is I'll keep your list. And if we get another house in this neighborhood, I'll make sure you guys know about it first so you can come out and take a look at it. Might be a better fit than this one was. Good.
Yep.
Agent on the other side of the deal is like,
That's awesome.
oh
Yep.
crap, are you freaking kidding me? Right? You do that to a couple thousand phone calls, super simple, super short, doesn't take any
Mhm.
time. Hey, if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Just by the way, because you showed the house, I'm going to put you on, make sure you're on my real estate market update list. Are you on the list now? Do you get it? No? Cool. I'm going to make sure you get a market update every month because we talk about what's going on in the market. So at least you know what the numbers are and the metrics are. It'll help you
Mhm.
close more deals. Hope that's cool. You good with that? Good. Boom, slap them on the list.
Cool.
You do that to 1,000 people in a year, you're gonna have 1,000 people that think you're the coolest freaking thing since sliced bread. Way more fun than going through 400 phone calls of people that don't want to talk to you, getting a bunch
Right.
of voicemails, getting a bunch
Right.
of blocked
Yep.
messages and so forth.
Yep.
Like, this is something you could have somebody on the team do on your behalf. And by the way, if you want to talk to Jeff, I'd have one of my admin people doing it in between and around, or a VA doing it in between and around. Hey, we do a follow up with this, blah, blah, blah. I want to make sure. And you got the thing, we'll get you set up with that. Great. If you ever need to chat with Jeff, Jeff says hi. Thanks for showing his properties. Appreciate you showing his properties.
Got
Who
it.
did that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You see where now you got a game shift. Now you got a feel shift. Now you're building and you're building a culture. And then when your people come in, say, I'm just going to tell you to do what I'm doing to you.
Hmm.
And they're like, okay.
Right.
And
Yep.
we do this to all of our people to sell houses too. By the way, the only thing they ever ask me is how's the market? I'm going to be their resource for that. It's free.
Hmm.
It's freaking free. Best marketing in the world. It's free. Now you look like an expert to everybody. Okay. So if you
Cool.
start with that, just get those pieces going.
Yeah.
You get that set up. If you bump into any problems with it, let me know. If you bump into like, hey, I want more info on this, let me know.
Sure.
When you get that set up and you're like, I got this set up and this is running, you talk to me and then we'll talk next level.
All right. That makes sense. So I'm
Fair?
just curious. I'm just curious. If I just from knowing this, do you know if like we use Showing Time, right? So
Yeah.
I wonder if Showing Time can pull in everybody in a spreadsheet that's shown on one of our listings. And I mean, do you know? Just curious.
I don't know the answer to that, but I do know Showing Time is probably one of the best resources for accurate agent information. There's so many other information pieces, but accurate showing information, absolutely, because the agents have to have an updated email and updated phone number to be able
Yeah.
to get in Showing Time. So if you're using that in your market, it is the
Yeah.
priceless source for the best
I'm gonna,
information.
I'm gonna I'm gonna hit them up and say, hey, give me everybody who's shown our listing the last 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A spreadsheet of anybody who's ever showed, inquired, like just it should they've got it tracked, so it's got to be in there somewhere.
Somebody's got to have that. Yes, I don't know the answer to that. I'm very, very tech challenged, hence whiteboard and marker. Uh, if you
Cool.
want me to get
Yeah.
really technical here, here's what I write on now. It's my remarkable, which is basically a whiteboard and a marker. So the
Awesome.
rest of it,
Yeah.
great question. And I'm gonna guess that yes, somebody should be able to pull that info, just who and how. Maybe even just reach out to Showing Time. It's like, is there any way you could do this or get this
Yeah.
to me? I mean, Showing Time
Cool.
sells the hell out of all their other data. They
For sure.
That's what
Yeah.
market leader is. So that's their wing of selling the data that they've got from all the lockbox info. So yeah, that would be the easiest, shortest.
This is one of the ways through SOI, through agents that that's is a whole program of communicating to them, and this is more for localized, obviously, and who people that know us currently already,
Yep,
right? Those agents here,
yep.
right? Okay, cool.
So again, step one,
Yep.
take care of home, right? Like if I'm going to build my real estate business, a lot of people say, well, Russ, my offices, I've done a ton of coaching real estate offices, from various positions, regional VP positions, national stuff. And like I got 28 offices at one point across the south half of the country, right? So I walk in the door, I'm like, all right, what are you doing? And they're like, well, we're at like 50, 60 agents and we want to open a second office in this market. I'm like, no, you don't. Because when you
Right.
open a second office, now 100% in that office and then you got 20% in the other. That division came from me watching people go, okay, I opened a second office. And what happened is your first office went down to 60%. Your second office went up to 10. So
Right.
you're at 70, you're 30% in the hole. And your people over here are pissed because you're not there all the time. The people over here don't know any different and any better. And it doesn't grow because it doesn't have the feel and the flavor and the vibe and the tribe and the sense of cohesiveness and the sense of stickiness because you're not there all the time.
Right.
You're going to open that. You've got to get a cult of personality. So for you, when you're thinking like, let's talk bigger expansion, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a person in another market and I'm going to say, hey, I'm looking to create a leader in this market. Who do you know that wants to be a leader in this market? Because I want to grab one person and then we're going to lean into showing them how to do everything we did here. Who do you know
Mhm.
that would fit that? And the people that put their hands up that want to be a leader are completely different animals than the people who are like, I just want to sell houses.
Right.
So if I could show you how to do what we did in your market, I'll support you in that. And you just turnkey the tools, rubber stamp the stuff, have them do all the things that you're doing, support them doing those things. The next thing you know, you've got a whole nother business going on and you're not distracted from your stuff. They are one of these. So this still is in your wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
First things first, I want to stay as hyper local as possible. I want to stay in my immediate market, the immediate people I touch. They're going to be the most likely suspects. And then if I want to go somewhere else, I'm going to build a seed and let somebody else and get that cult of personality to run. I'm going to lead them. Next thing you know, well, you'll hear some people talk about getting generals. I'm going to get generals. Like I'm going to stand at the top of this thing. I'm going to get generals. I'm going to get 15 people in 15 markets and support them. Now I got 15 seeds going 15 directions.
Yeah.
Those
Got it.
15 each get 10. Now I got 150.
Right. Yeah.
How we built, that's how I helped build Fathom Realty. I had 15 full-time recruiters under me. We had hired them. Wendy Forsythe, by the way, current CMO of EXP. She was the one that pulled me from EXP as an agent to, because I was kind of in hiding after resigning from a corporate role. So I kind of came here and hid for a little while. And then she pulled me to help build Fathom Realty. We built it from 3,000 to 8,000 in 24 months.
Wow.
My team was 15 full-time recruiters, and I had them doing we add value. They did the follow-up call and then offered to send them something else. And they said yes. And then we offered to send, and then we follow-up call. Did you get the thing out of the thing? And then
Yeah.
just went back and forth. 10 touches later, on average, 10 touches later, we hired 2,079 people in 15 months with 5.8 per person productivity.
Pretty good.
Almost double the national average, right?
Yeah.
Just doing a very, very big scaled version of this. Okay. So when you start going, what does this recipe look like? How does this recipe work? It's very scalable. And you find your 15 main people. Let's go, baby. You want
Yeah.
1,000? Fine. How about two? Get 15 of the right people. Two is
Yeah.
well within your capability in the next year or two, right?
Yeah.
All
Got
right.
it.
So
Cool.
there's your path to potential. Like, wow, now I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't
All right.
unsee me.
Exactly. And that's good. I appreciate that. Walking me through that.